floor pan. And this is my second side of doing it. I've done the other side, and I'm going to show you just how any fool, as I'm about to prove, can make a floor pan with that, a hammer and a chisel, which you've probably already got in your garage. Not a how-to video, just how I do it. So clean it up, make sure you're back to good metal before you decide where you're going to cut it. Have a look underneath, try and avoid any problems, any brackets, any pipes and all the rest of it. Make life easier. On the first one I did, I finished it here, so I didn't have to put this rib in here, which made it quite easy to do on the folder. It's just in and out, in and out, in and out. But once you put that in, you can't do that really, because obviously putting these in will use up metal, but this isn't using up any metal. So I'm going to do this hammer forming. So this is my cut line inside the blue tape, and that hole there isn't rot. Somebody's decided to put an extra master cylinder there, which doesn't really work, and they just hacked a hole in the floor. So I'm going to just let it roll down that first lip and cut it there, and cut it around that reinforcement bracket. But don't cut anything out, leave it all where it is, and I'll make a pattern now. Okay, so go in the attic, get some old wallpaper, and I've marked here, these are the centres of these ribs. You can just see that there, and the end of the ribs. So I've got 3 along here, and then I've got these up here. And I'm not too worried about those at the moment, the exact positions. I'm going to put these in first, and then offer it up and mark those manually, because I've got to make sure that these line up, and then those that go up the bulkhead, they line up as well. So there's 2 lots of lining up. So I'm going to trim that pattern, mark these lines properly, and cut some steel out. So marked out. This is a piece off the other side that I did, which that goes there. But this is my last piece of steel, and you may have seen me fail before, so I really want to get this right. So I've left quite a bit of space, a bit of spare around the edges. All this with crosses on is spare. So I'll get that cut out and see where we are. Right, now I've transferred these marks from the other side to this side. I punched a hole right on the end of that rib, and I've put this angle on, and I put a couple of holes and some bolts through, so as I can keep locating it back in the same position. So now I'm going to take that off and fix these where that goes. So if I take the metal out, I can mark these positions on the board and screw these down. I'm not too worried about what's happening up the other end at the moment. Anyway, that's the first section. First section in. So now get this back on the bolts. Of course that won't bolt down tight, we've got these lumps in the way. I'll bolt that down now. Right, let's try this. So I fixed this steel block down with a few screws to stop it sliding around. And I've done this hammer forming without pre-stretching, and it's worked out alright, but this just might be better. Are we still in shot? Yeah. And really, that end will be better because we want to stretch it, we want to create more metal that way. That way would make it longer, this one, doing it this way. Just try that. Not doing an awful lot. Well, it is adding something, but I don't think it's worth the effort, so I'm going to skip that process. Right, let's make some noise. Of course you have to tighten these as you go along as it gets pulled down. You can see the shape already starting to show through there. And that's maybe as much as I want to take it. I mean, I've got lots of location holes, so I can get it back in the same place. So I think I'm going to take that off and just have a look at it. And that can be planished out quite easily. That can be planished out quite easily there. A little bit undefined there. And for me, that's fine for a floor plan. And these they've stretched a little bit, those holes. But that won't make any difference. And all these holes are in the scrap area, so they'll all be trimmed off. Hopefully. But it stayed pretty flat. Let's just hold that up and see. A little bit of a twist on it, but I think if I just pull that, it'll come back. So I think now get this trimmed up here and try and offer it up to the front and see how it looks there. Well, if you look at this, this is the same section from the other side. This rib only goes between the two, and I thought I'd book it up, but it actually goes between the three on the driver's side, which is odd. But that's how it is. There's a long rib there and a short rib on the passenger side. So I'm going to try and put this bend in. I'm running out of battery. Put this bend in with the mallet. And being a soft bend, you can cheat quite a bit. You can move it around if need be. Right, putting in one of these little diagonals now. And I dotted it from the other side with a centre punch just to mark the ends. And the difficult thing is when they don't come to the end is finding out where they go, but that's sort of ballpark there, so that'll be alright. And if you get a good clamp on it, that'll go down really nicely now. There we are, that one's in. So I've just marked this one, and it's maybe moved over 2mm. So it's still pretty good. So just get that last one in here, because that has to line up with that one in the bulkhead. That's the last bend in, and of course it straightens out that bend at the end. Got to move the camera. Let's try that. See if that fits. And there it is, trimmed, drilled. I'm going to stitch it, stitch weld along those edges. I find a stitch weld much better than those plug welds. Painted the areas that I can't get to afterwards. So time for some welding. In, painted. I still have to seam seal it. And I still have to crawl underneath and paint it. That's turned out okay.